Testing.
Well, at least all it is you just have to plug it or take it out and plug it back in. I mean, thank God that's like the only problem we have here. But
Yeah.
it's still like, why?
Every single time.
Every single time. Yeah, it hasn't failed us yet.
All right. So, Gray, what you up to today? What did you do today?
I got a big week coming up, so I had to drop my dog off back home in East Texas. So about 5 hours of driving after getting off a 8 a.m. shift. So I got a little bit of jet lag going right now, but I'm all right. I'm ready to go.
So the movie that we're going to watch today is Gray's pick, and we are going to watch Bloodsport.
There's a backstory to this.
All right, let us know.
First off, I just want to say I'm angry. I'm not happy right now.
Why?
Because a few days ago, I was listening to a podcast, and I really don't listen to podcasts like that. You know this. But there is one podcast that I will turn on if I'm like kind of just at the house by myself, cleaning up, just kind of hanging out, doing whatever. Part of my take with Big Cat and PFT commenter.
Yeah.
Good podcast, funny guys. They make sports fun. It's always a good time, always a good listen. And, you know, I've never had a complaint about those guys. But I got to say, they did something that it sparked a flame within my soul that words can't even describe.
Wow.
The real rage that I actually feel.
Wow, that's...
So it's part of my take, and they talk about sports, but I guess sports world is, you know, not good enough for them right now, or they're not getting enough content. So they're doing movie reviews for the next 6 weeks, and I heard that, and I just, son of a bitch, are you kidding me? I mean, it's not like we talk about the Lakers for like 45 minutes at a time,
okay, yeah.
Not on this podcast. I keep it to myself. Like, stick to the sports. It just makes me mad because obviously that reel that I have on my Instagram, it did pretty well. You know, almost 16,000 views. I assume they must have heard about it. You know, they're trying to take out the competition before it really rises to the top. I get it. It's a bold strategy, but it's not going to work. Okay, so
but the thing is we're going to stay consistent, and they are only going to do it for 6 weeks, you said. So it's the principle of it, okay? This was our idea. We review movies, and we're good at it, and we're funny, and I don't know. I found it despicable. I found it disgusting, and quite frankly, I lost a little bit of respect for those guys. And, okay, but anyways, so the first movie they did was Bloodsport, and I couldn't even finish listening to the review. One, I've never seen the movie, and two, I mean, fuck those guys. I'm pissed. So we're gonna review the movie Bloodsport, which is what they reviewed, and it's gonna be way better than them. And so you essentially want to get back at them by copying them?
They copied us. Don't forget that. Okay, we started reviewing movies before them. Okay,
we don't review movies. We react to movies.
We dive into them. It was a reaction. What those guys did. It was a reaction.
They watched it. They sat down and watched it.
They sat down, watched it. I imagine kind of how we do it. Popcorn.
Are you just saying that, or was that like the actual principle of the podcast?
Yes, they watched the movie, and then they talk about the movie. They review it.
I guess they had to if it was an old movie, right?
Yeah. So, to hell with those guys.
You listened to that today?
A little bit, but I'll tell you what. As soon as they started talking about the other movie they were gonna watch, I don't even know what movie they watched this time. I stopped listening.
It was how long was the podcast?
They go for like 2 hours, but again, they're not covering just a movie. You know, they're covering the sports world. Right now, we got NBA Finals.
So it's like a segment on their show now.
Yeah, it's how they like end their show. And you know, it's just.
I think it was Jake that was telling me that we should do segments because I think he watches that show and they do segments. Is that right?
Yeah, he listens to Pardon My Take.
I don't listen to it, but apparently they do segments. And he wanted us to do segments on this show.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we're still pretty new at this.
I don't think I want to do segments.
We're still figuring it out.
Maybe I like the segments at the end when we rate the movie.
I like the flow. I think we can add some things. Like I was thinking, one thing you could do is if you were to replace actors in this movie, like who would you rather see? We could do something like that. So okay, maybe we could do that for this one, Bloodsport.
Okay. So any actor probably, because if you haven't seen it, Jean-Claude Van Damme is a fucking terrible actor.
I can't wait.
It is the cheat. I've seen. So Gray has not seen this movie. I've seen this movie, and it is.
When's the last time you saw this movie? Like, do you still have a pretty good recollection of like what you thought about the movie, or like was it a while ago? Were you a kid watching it with your dad? Or
no, it was probably within 5 years. I could have been in high school. I think I was actually out of high school when I watched it, so it had to have been. It's been recent. Like I remember parts of the movie.
Okay.
So I remember, I remember some funny parts of it that are like, bro, what? But I'm definitely forgotten a lot of it. So it'll be fun watching it. It's been a little bit.
Okay, I'm excited. I think that's something that I didn't really watch much of as a kid. Was like those '80s kung fu type movies.
Yeah, I didn't watch any kung fu movies, but my dad always had us watching the, biggest action movies there were. Like we watched Rocky, like the Karate Kid.
Yeah. I saw Rocky, saw Karate Kid. Love those movies, but I'm talking like cheesy, corny, like honestly, like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan.
I didn't watch those. He showed, or like the Chuck Norris ones. And he was like, we watched the movie The Rock. You seen that? That was one I liked as a kid.
The Rock. It's
when they escape Alcatraz. It's got who was James Bond? He's a guy that
Sean O'Connery.
Yeah. Remember when he said? I was about to describe him as. Remember when he said? He's talking about women when they like disagree with you. He's like, just give him a slap in the face and just like move on with it.
Sean O'Connery.
Yes.
Bond. I am James Bond.
So Sean, that was a pretty good impression.
Thanks.
So Sean O'Connery, he stars in it with Nicolas Cage. It's pretty. I think it's in the 90s. Maybe a 90s action movie.
Dude, oh my God, yes, I have seen it. Isn't there like a missile? Possibly,
yes, like they have a bioweapon that they're going to launch terrorists, dude.
I took a
so they
class.
have to break back into the fucking Alcatraz.
I took a class my senior year of high school. It was a blow-off class, but it was like criminal something.
You had to watch that movie for the criminal class?
Dude, like the teacher, he's now the judge. He's like the main judge of my town back home, like of my hometown.
High school.
High school.
I thought you took a college criminal class.
No.
But either way, that doesn't make any sense.
It was like just an elective. Like it was like learning about criminals. It was a cool class. Obviously, I mean the teacher was cool, but I mean pretty much every Friday it was like, all right, I found this movie. It's got some crime in it, and I think y'all like it. And it was good.
So he didn't give a fuck.
No, it was like again, it was just one of those hometown guys. He was a warden.
Nice.
Yeah. You're the warden.
I was a warden too.
You were the warden. He was an actual warden, and pretty much like kind of easing into retirement. He was just like, well, fuck it. I'll teach these kids that I've known my entire life, and we'll just hang out, watch movies, and talk about like crazy serial killers. It was a fun class. But yes,
did y'all watch
I have seen The Rock.
Nice. Yeah, that was a fun one. I can't think of the rest, but we watched a lot of the older action movies that are fun, just not kung fu.
But I think this one is going to go over the top. I'm excited. I'm excited for the corniness.
Yeah, super cheesebally.
Yeah, like we watched Taxi Driver that dropped today, and that was like cheesy in the fact that they tried to make it serious. I think this one is just going to be more of like a fun, just, it's a movie. And you know that it's not realistic at all, and that's why it's a good movie. It's like I'm
classic.
I'm hoping to get like a Kill Bill type vibe from this movie, because I assume Kill Bill like kind of has inspiration from those kung fu movies.
Oh, you're talking about the fight scenes and the way they fight? Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm hoping that this will kind of.
For sure, it does.
Oh, I can't wait.
I mean, because Jean-Claude Van Damme, I'm not sure if he's a martial artist, but he is very flexible. He's an athlete. Dude, he's fucking ripped. Like, he looks like a fucking like Greek god.
And a terrible actor, obviously.
Terrible actor.
Yeah.
But the women like him.
Yeah.
And he is a cool action star because he can
do these high kicks and fucking can do the splits. And
Does he have a stuntman in this movie, or am I going to be seeing this guy?
It's probably him, I would assume, because he's an action star. That was like the whole point back in the 80s.
Right. Well,
with
I like that.
Arnold
That's
Schwarzenegger and
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Who else? Big action star from the 80s. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Bruce Lee. Was he in the 80s? I don't know.
Bruce Lee was older, I think. Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
I think he was in the 90s though.
Yeah, I think he was 80s and 90s, but regardless,
he's old.
But regardless, like every fight movie that you see with Jackie Chan, that's Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
So
Jackie Chan did all of his own stunts.
Was Tom Cruise 80s?
Yeah, I think Top Gun.
Like Mission Impossible, I think that was that 80s. Was that 90s?
That's 90s and 2000s. They got a new one coming out, 10 or something crazy.
Yeah, I hear this time Tom Cruise like jumps off the moon.
No.
I wouldn't be surprised though.
He jumps off a cliff with a motorcycle though.
Oh, I saw that. But he does it. He really did. He did it like, what, 12 times or something like that?
Yeah, like he literally did that. That dude's insane.
Yeah, I mean, you hang off of a plane to make a good movie. And quite frankly, I didn't even see it.
He's got to just be an insane... I think he might just be so successful that he needs to do the craziest things to feel anything anymore, because the amount of wealth he probably has is so absurd that, and all the women that just flaunt to him, like he gets anything he wants, so life is easy for him.
And I'm sure like
he gets all the action roles, so life is so easy for him. So he needs to do these just insane, like stunts and do all these crazy motorcycle rides and all this stuff, just so he can like get some excitement back in his life.
And I'm sure like his high status as a Scientologist, like that religion has probably deemed him immortal. So
yeah, he might even be immortal.
I mean, who knows?
I've
never seen him die.
Me either. He looks like he's in his 40s and the dude's like 60, 70 maybe.
That's wild.
How old is Tom Cruise? I do have my phone. Let's look up how old he is. I know he's way older than he looks.
He's not 70. He might not even be 60
years old.
Damn.
He's 60 on the dot.
I was going to say maybe 58. 60 on the dot.
And he's doing these crazy stuff. Dude, 60 years old. That was how old your grandpa was. Or your grandma was when you were a kid. Think about that and Tom Cruise doing these stunts.
My grandpa could have done some of those stunts.
But he wouldn't have.
But he would. Actually, I don't even know what to say. I don't know how to follow that up.
I'm just saying, isn't that crazy if you think about it?
It is crazy to think about.
A 60-year-old man jumping out of planes, doing these stunts, and he looks like he's literally in his 40s.
That's the craziest part to me. Jumping off a cliff, anybody can do that. But when you're 60 years old and you look like you might be on the brink of turning 40,
yeah,
that's way more impressive.
You look like your 40-year-old birthday's next year.
Yeah, like that is a way bigger feat to me. But okay, Bloodsport. I'm excited. Let's go watch this. This has absolutely no inspiration from part of my take. I want to make that crystal clear.
As we just talked about it for the first 10 minutes of this podcast.
I just don't care that they did this. I want to see this movie because I want to see this movie.
It's a good pick.
All right. We doing this?
Okay, we just watched Bloodsport.
What a journey.
Quite the classic, isn't it? Quite the classic.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, Kate, just fun movie, lots of plot twists. You just never see what's actually coming. And then when it happens, you're like, wow. That really got me off guard.
Yeah. What'd you think of Jean-Claude Van Damme's acting?
Top tier. Definitely Oscar worthy. I mean, the guy just really set the standard for what good acting needs to look like on the big screen.
Yep.
No, listen, if and when you watch this movie,
I'm sure, hopefully most listeners have seen this movie because it is like an old school classic and, well, maybe not, but, you know.
Yeah, I mean, this is just as corny as it gets. I mean,
I loved how in the beginning there's just all the exposition that it's setting up so you can know everything that happens. It's just in like the dialogue. The reporters at the bar, it's like, I know you guys are fighting in the Kumite. What's the Kumite? I know that there's a secret underground fighting competition that's full contact here in Hong Kong.
But it's super secret.
Yeah, super secret.
Yeah, and I'm an American journalist that just so happened to find out not only what it's called and what it is, but I also found the location of where all the fighters are staying.
It's pretty impressive, too, that she had trouble finding the Kumite and then immediately found it right after.
She's good. She's really good.
She had no hope unless Jean-Claude could help her, and he said, I'm sorry, I can't. So then the next day, she just shows up and is like, hey, I figured it out.
She said, hey, this isn't my first time going undercover.
Which also means this isn't my first time pimping myself out to this guy to let me into the Kumite.
Yeah, well, it just makes you think. I mean, how many guys did she sleep with? Because, I mean, no disrespect to Frank Dukes, but, I mean, he bagged her pretty quickly. I mean, we didn't even see any kind of, like, he didn't really spit any game, at least on screen.
Well, I mean, how much more game do you need to spit other than stopping a guy from raping you in the hotel room?
Well, okay, when you put it like that. But then I start thinking, man, I got to choose these next words wisely. But I'm just wondering, like, how much of a fight would she have put with that guy? Like, I don't know. I mean, she was really determined.
She would. Oh, what? Oh,
like, if Frank Dukes doesn't come into that scene, like, what
Are
if
you saying that she wanted it?
I'm saying I think she's a really good reporter and she's not afraid to go undercover.
I think the Me Too movement would not appreciate that.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I'm just saying, like, she slept with Frank Dukes. He didn't even get her in the fight, but yet she still shows up with another guy.
How are you not going to sleep with Frank Dukes? Do you see his ass when he was getting out of bed with his briefs? Not even boxer briefs, just briefs.
Those were
skin tight.
Those were panties.
Those are panties.
Those were panties. If you watch this movie,
100%. I've seen.
But I'll tell you what, only Frank Dukes can pull that off, or whatever the actor's name is.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I know. You know, every
That's what
time
you
you
get.
say it, I forget it as soon as you say it.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. How can you forget that?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yep.
Jean-Claude Van. He's Frank Dukes for the rest of this
Frank
podcast.
Dukes.
At least coming from me.
I'm gonna say Jean-Claude because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's funny. That's what happens. That kind of blood sport acting happens when you get somebody that's actually athletic to act in a movie.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It was
Tom Cruise is probably pretty athletic, like we talked about earlier in this podcast.
Yeah,
but
he's no. Wow, I already forgot his name. He's no Frank Dukes.
Like DiCaprio is one of the best actors in the world. Is he a athlete? Probably not. Wouldn't bet on it.
No, I mean, but then you think about like the Brad Pitts of the world. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio couldn't.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Troy.
Yeah, you're right. Brad Pitt probably is an athlete.
He's definitely
brother Brad. He
could have given this guy a run for his money. Absolutely.
Yep.
We just he missed out on that time, I guess.
This is a good example, this movie, of how I think to not tell a story. Because it's
as basic as it gets, but you're not into it for the story. You want to see some kick-ass fighting and a lot of good montages. And damn, did we get plenty of that.
Because the story, it just happens. It's you see him, backstory, and then the rest of the events of this plot. The story doesn't unfold. Like, that's what I've come to realize that I like about Tarantino movies, that the story unfolds itself. This movie, you found out everything you needed to know in the front half, and then the rest of the half you knew probably going to win, so you kind of knew what the rest of the movie was going to be like. You could guess it. They didn't let the story unfold. If you would have seen them get there in the Kumite, you would have been like, what is this? And then there would have been a whole backstory about him with his old man, the Tanako, whatever his name was, the sensei guy.
I thought they did a pretty good job of illustrating like what was happening, like what was the reason for him going.
Well, I don't know if I'd say they did a good job. I think they told you everything, but did they do a good job delivering it?
As far as explaining the story, yes. But again, like go back to the lady reporter. Like, I would have appreciated a good story, or at least some kind of something. Like how did she get in? I mean, where did she just find this random dude that like got her in there? We got no context to that. We see her like trying with Frank Dukes, and he sleeps with her, and then still says, hey, I can't get you into this fight. And then she just appears. She's there. it was like, okay, I don't even think she had to sleep with Frank Dukes. I think she already had a lock. I think she already was in.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
But again, I would have appreciated a little bit more explanation, but it's neither here nor there. I mean, she's nothing compared to the Frank Dukes story, which is absolutely true. It's real and it happened.
Except the only way that it can be verified is by Frank Dukes.
Yeah, is through Frank Dukes.
The real Frank Dukes. Because if you haven't seen the movie, it portrays itself, and at the end, like it
really caught me off guard.
You know what's funny? Bro, the movie is just outlandish, and at the end, it's like, this movie was based on true events. You're like, what? Which part? You're like, bro, what? So that's hilarious. At the end, it just kind of tells you, hey, by the way, this is a true story.
No, that was a real curveball.
I forgot about that at the very end.
I was just thinking, I was like, man, like, how cool would this be if this were to actually happen? And then it's like, oh, don't you worry, it did. But
apparently.
Yeah, well, it's based off the source of trust me, bro.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
Dude, there's this one time. That's what it's based on.
Yeah.
There's this one time.
Yeah. No, I did research into Frank Dukes because, again, like Kade said, I mean, just really catches you off guard. Wait, what? Frank Dukes is a real person and this is a real story?
And then with like the first sign of research.
Yeah, I mean, you look up Frank Dukes and it says in the first paragraph, like, all of Frank Dukes' stories and accomplishments can only be verified by Frank Dukes. There's not another person on this planet that could say, like, oh, yeah, that did happen.
I'll tell you what, a starving screenwriter heard that story and was like, that's real? The guy said, yeah. He goes, bet.
Yeah.
And he just went with it.
I
no
believe
questions
you, Frank.
asked. No questions asked. He can't.
To hell with the truth. Okay?
Yeah, he's like, fuck it. I got to make money. I got to write.
This will sell at the box office.
I got to write a story. I need something. I'm a starving artist. He's like, give me this.
Oh my God. Wait, you're telling me like this is like the most simple plot of all time and it's real? And he's like, absolutely. And he said, oh my God, thank you, Frank Dukes.
I've had an idea for a long time for like a UFC type of Rocky movie. And I've always thought that I would start it off with this guy who's a champion. He's undefeated. He just like cannot lose. And then like in the first, like the opening act, the biggest problem is that he does lose because he starts to lose track of his, he stops focusing on the fighting and starts to focus on the fame and kind of is starting to get full of himself. So he gets too cocky and he ends up letting himself slip and loses because he doesn't try too hard. He thinks he's unbeatable. But I've always thought about maybe at some point in that movie I write in where he has to go away somewhere to like learn how to lose and learn how to like get his roots back and get away from all of like the fame. So he would go to some place like a hidden secret fighting ground like the Kumite. It wouldn't be a tournament, but like he would go to this like secret fighting world. And so I've always thought that was funny. I think I got that inspiration from this movie.
Bloodsport.
From Bloodsport.
And you gotta love that they just they threw it in there. They threw in Bloodsport.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you hear it before that. Like, okay, so there's just this line where, you know, a guy like pretty much gets his shit rocked and there's blood all over the ring. And my guy Ray Jackson, pretty much, I mean, he's by far my favorite character of the movie. And that was definitely done on purpose. But once this guy in the ring gets his teeth knocked out and there's blood all over the place, Ray just looks at Frank and goes, and that's why they call it Bloodsport.
Yeah.
And that's when the movie really starts.
I think, I'll tell you what, Jean-Claude Van Damme's acting is not that great, but it is better than Ray Jackson's acting.
Oh.
I would give it.
I would disagree with that.
What?
Oh, Ray Jackson was giving me the spirit. I mean, well, I'll tell you this. Just as, okay, I don't want to compare it to Frank because Frank's the star and he's obviously a humble man that is only fighting to just like pay his respect to his mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ray's there to just kick ass and he does a damn good job of expressing that is why he's there. He does a way better job than the villain of the movie who, you know, we were laughing about this after the movie. The villain of the movie does this thing where after he pretty much kills all of his opponents, the crowd is just going crazy, like screaming, chanting.
And they don't care that he kills people in the ring for a friendly...
They pay respect. Remember, they do, like, they stand up. They like
after he killed him, but they're like, Zhong Li, Zhong,
Yes.
cheering, and then they realized, but no, they weren't paying respect. They were paying disrespect to him.
Oh, that's what was happening?
Because they stood up and turned their back to him, like saying like, "Oh, we don't like that.
Gotcha.
We don't fuck with you killing people in our ring."
Okay.
So then everybody had to stand up. And
But just know, okay, so
maybe they did share their respect because they did. It was like some fake statue in the background.
it was something like that, yeah.
So maybe they were paying respect.
Yeah.
I took it as they were disrespecting him, or they were showing they don't respect that.
Yeah.
But I do remember there was like a Buddha type statue in the back.
Yeah. Don't know what it was, but it was something that they were.
Maybe they were
You
just
know,
paying their
But
respects to
I'm
the
just
death.
saying, like, Ray compared to the villain, I mean, way more energy,
100%.
way more believable energy, because the villain of the movie, I have a theory that his voice must have just not matched his body at all, because
Well, okay. Did you hear at the end though?
what?
You start to hear his voice squeak through. I think they didn't turn down his volume enough. You heard like,
Really?
yes, I swear to God, because you said that. You said maybe his voice doesn't match his body. Maybe it's high pitched. And then I started to listen to him when he was going like opening his mouth. And I swear to God, there's one scene where you hear him. He's like, dude, I swear.
It doesn't surprise me, because the crowd is going crazy screaming, and this guy just has his mouth wide open. He's flexing titties, but there's no audible sound coming out of him.
Here, let me just pause you right there. How about them titties?
How about them titties?
He had the fucking biggest pecs I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, and he knew it.
Like they're almost abnormal for his body. Like they do not match his body.
No, but he knew it. I mean, that was his thing. He got in that ring, and he just made those titties dance. And they could
He
dance
flexes pecs a lot more than The Rock did in the WWE.
more than more than anybody I've ever seen. I mean, that, I don't know. Would I be terrified, or would I just be like, wait, how do you do that?
I think
What steps did you take to get to this point? Like,
he started off by benching 3,000 pounds.
when he was 5 years old.
And then he just inserted steroids right to the pec,
Yeah.
both of them.
Oh, I
and
mean,
just kept pumping 3,000
that
pounds.
is, he hasn't missed a chest day since he was out of the womb.
I think every day is chest day for that.
Every
dude.
day is chest day. Like, he definitely dedicates at least an hour to chest every day. No, it doesn't matter what workout he has. Like, it's chest day at some point. And it paid off. I mean, he made it to Bloodsport. I mean, arguably just one of the greatest movies of all time. I mean, this is it. This is the one. This is the action movie.
But on a serious note, his pecs for the real person, the actor, that's got to be almost like a disformity. I mean,
You're worried about him?
No. I just think it's funny. His pecs just abnormally big. And I'm sure, even though that they're way bigger than... That's like a guy who has a giant top, but little legs. That's the version of it where the chest is big and the rest of his body is normal. Yeah. But he had nice arms, and the arms are pretty big.
Yeah, pretty good.
Not as big as his chest.
Pretty good traps. He's a big dude. Definitely, it was a good villain. He had like the crazy villain look. He had the crazy eyes.
His faces looked better than Jean-Claude's when he was... Jean-Claude would like do maybe the slow-mo punch or whatever.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude's face wasn't very... Didn't sell me.
Yeah.
Pretty whack.
No, he's all jokes aside, pretty terrible acting in this entire movie. I mean, it was pretty god awful from the jump.
I'd say, well, I think homeboy, what's the black dude that
with the lazy eye?
Yeah.
Or not even a lazy eye. It's just like his eyes
just dip
like,
down.
Yeah.
I guess it is lazy.
I don't know, but yeah, find out his name, because obviously he's the best actor. You can clearly see that in the movie.
Because he's a real actor. I think that the reporter probably wasn't bad. I don't notice anything bad about her.
I don't think she was given like the best script to...
Forrest Whitaker?
Let me see. We'll go with Whitaker.
I had no idea that was his name.
He is a great actor. Obviously, like, you can just see that from his career.
Yeah, he's been in some good ones. He's always been like he's been in, I wouldn't say great movies where it's like he's just always been in like these like middle tier, like just decent movies.
Yeah, but you always love him. In every movie he's in, you always love him.
Like, because he's been in Southpaw, Taken 3, Rogue One. I guess that's pretty big. But it's not like a great... these are all kind of like middle tier movies. Except for Bloodsport. That's a pretty good movie.
Oh, man.
Arrival. He's apparently in Arrival. I have not seen that, but I do know that's a good movie.
I just know that when he's in a movie, like everybody likes him.
He's always like the homeboy cop.
Yeah.
Always is like the homeboy cop that like lets you slide.
Yeah. Or even, I mean, like you said, he was in Rogue One. I remember that movie. Everybody loves him in that movie.
I fell asleep both times I tried to watch Rogue One.
Yikes.
And I didn't even
Bold statement to make on this podcast.
I didn't like that movie.
Ooh, even bolder.
I got to try it again. Obviously, I don't think I've ever finished it. And I didn't even realize until, months after the last time that I watched it, which has been a few years ago, but still, I didn't know that there's a Darth Vader scene.
Rogue One is a great Star Wars movie.
I'm not going to give my opinion because my opinion right now would say no, but I also haven't seen it in a long time, and I also haven't finished
falling asleep. Sounds like you need to get a good night's rest.
Or how about they make the movie better?
It doesn't make me fall asleep. Rogue One's a good movie.
Okay, I'm not going to hate on it because I'm going to admit that I don't know if I don't like it or if I do like it. I just know that I fell asleep twice.
Okay. It's on air. It's out there. Everybody knows it.
Sorry.
Third time's a charm, I suppose. But I'll tell you what. Everybody likes him in that movie. And yeah, no, like I said, he is by far the best actor in this movie. Yeah, it was just pretty bad. Just very awkward silences, awkward dialogue, awkward delivery. This movie is not about the lines.
It's like if you gave a student a full movie budget. Like a student filmmaker, film school student, you gave him a few $1 million to make a movie, and this is probably the quality you'd receive.
Yes. But then, I don't know, because you would think, like, in 2023, we have come a long way as far as action movies go. But then, and I think this is our next podcast coming out, Sisu, they're still out there. I mean,
they've already seen Sisu. Sisu's already came out.
But I'm just saying, like, as far as quality goes, like dialogue, the plot in general, I mean, Bloodsport, the essence of, like, those kinds of movies, they're not gone. In fact, they might even be making a comeback. They might even be making a comeback.
Well, I'm actually not all for it because it's only fun to watch this. If this movie came out now, we would be shitting on it hard. But because it came out in the 80s and
absolutely.
Our dads liked it, now we're like enjoying it.
Okay, but because
it's almost like because our dads
don't want to spoil Sisu, but
no, they weren't. The Sisu was last episode.
It already came out.
Yeah, it's last episode.
No, we didn't.
This episode when it's live. Sisu's already been out for a week.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, okay, that is what I'm saying. So we could talk about Sisu.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. This movie pretty much did come out in Sisu, in as far as just how dialogue is written, action scenes. I mean, yeah, Sisu. We did shit on Sisu.
Exactly. And if this movie came out today and it was a new movie, we would be like, are you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is what you guys made?
Absolutely.
But you know what's funny? I was going to say that this movie, it's like you gave a film student, some money to make a movie, and this is what they would make. And I was going to argue, but the storyline's pretty cool because it's like an original story. There's like crazy stuff happening. But then I remembered, wait, they just copied some guy's story that also said this happened. So people that made this movie didn't even come up with the storyline.
There was not much creativity put into this movie. I mean,
so much so, not even so much creativity. So much so there wasn't enough creativity that Jean-Claude couldn't do a different kick for the last shot.
The final kill, the final blow.
He did the same kick 4 times.
4 times. I was expecting a crazy...
I think it might have been 5, to be honest with you. Because it started off wide and then 5. It got close. Okay,
I thought it was 5.
Because it did like a couple wides and it did a few more close-ups of that kick different times as he did the same split.
We should have figured out like what that is. Is that just like a high kick? I don't even know. What is that move called that he did?
I don't think it's a real move because there's no reason for you to kick and split in the air. I think that's just a fun thing to show off your athleticism.
It looks so cool that they did it 5 times for the final blow.
I love when they choreograph fighting to not be realistic, but I don't love it, but I think it's funny when they choreograph fighting just to look cool and not actually be accurate. Cause
yeah, well, you could just tell in this kind of movie, like every fight scene, you can tell after every blow that's landed, they're just waiting for the next move.
It's they're like,
it's not even
punch, wait, block, wait,
yeah,
like get hit, okay, yeah, it's like very like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in every single fight. Yeah, I like when they do unnecessary rolls.
Unnecessary rolls,
like when they roll on the ground.
Oh yeah, well I mean that's
like
just a
the guy's like across the ring, instead of just walking over to him, just do a quick little roll to get there.
Yeah,
style points for the crowd.
Yeah, I think Frank Dukes even had a final blow in one of his matches where he just rolled for absolutely no reason. He did not have to.
Was a reason to get there quick.
Okay. Maybe the roll is good,
but only for this one section that you're about to say.
I'm not talking about the nut shot.
Oh, I thought you were saying the nut shot.
No.
That
the nut shot made total sense.
It makes sense to roll into the nut shot.
In fact, I would say that's pretty much the most realistic part of this movie.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, the final blow just being a crazy nut shot, which you also have to understand. Frank Dukes, his character, he has the capability of using the death touch. The death touch, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so.
And I think, and they don't really clarify this, but if I were a betting man, I think Frank Dukes uses the death touch on a man's nuts.
And his stomach.
He uses it on the stomach. Yeah, I liked what you said when we were watching. He pretty much used the death touch to open up his stomach more. So when he used the death touch again on his nuts, like his nuts truly
shot up into
his entire body, like probably hit like the top of his mouth or something.
After we watched it, I was looking on my phone to see the Frank Duke story, just to see like what was the real story behind it, and it being fake. I just wanted to see how they called him out on it and like the story. And there's a picture of Jean-Claude with Frank Dukes when they were younger, like when this movie was going on. So think about on set. I bet you the real Frank Dukes was there on set watching Jean-Claude do it. And he's like, yeah. I did that. He's like, yeah, keep doing that. I did that. Like when Jean-Claude's like on one leg kicking the same time like this. He's on one leg, doesn't put his front leg down and just kicks 5 times, and the guy never blocks it. He just hit every time. No movement, no block, just taking the standing same leg kick to the face. And Frank Duke's like, yeah, that happened. I did that.
Well, maybe that would make sense, especially for the final blow when he does the same kick 5 times in a row. Maybe Frank was like, no, this is what happened. Like, I used the same move 5 times in a row.
Or Frank was just so impressed that Jean-Claude could do that he wanted people to think that he could also do that kick. So he's like, no, 5 times. Like, show him I did that 5 times.
Maybe it was just supposed to be 1 time, and Frank just kept saying, again.
Well, I was thinking too, maybe.
Again.
I was thinking maybe that whenever they filmed it, they filmed it to be just one. Like they filmed it to be 1 kick in the movie, but they filmed it a few times just to get the right angle and just get different takes.
Again.
Just get different takes. And then when they were editing, they just put it in there like 5 times. They didn't think maybe the last kick was too impactful, so they just cut the different takes in like 5 different times.
What if we look back and it really is just the same exact, like they just kept using that same kick?
It was like instant replay.
It wasn't even like different. It wasn't even different takes. Yeah. Like it was just the same kick every time.
Just different angles.
Yeah.
Bloodsport, dude. I'm glad you picked this one today.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I had to see it. I've heard about it before. Obviously, part of my take doing it really just pissed me off, so I had to see it and really like get my eyes on it. I'm glad we watched it. And again, like we were talking about earlier, like I didn't grow up seeing like kung fu movies like this.
Me either. I saw Enter the Dragon not that long ago, and I heard Quentin Tarantino say that he said Enter the Dragon. Have you seen that one?
No.
We should watch that one.
Oh, is that with Bruce Lee?
That's Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
That's very similar to Bloodsport. It's the same concept, but it's just a different story. So it's about a secret martial arts tournament. But I want to say Bruce Lee's working with the government to help take down this tournament. and he's fighting in it, but so it's not about him winning the tournament. It's about them taking it down. It's like a crime movie.
Oh, way more interesting already.
It's definitely better than Bloodsport.
Okay.
It's still a corny action movie, but Bruce Lee is probably a better actor than Jean-Claude.
Okay.
And
no way.
not hard.
Come on.
But Tarantino,
Bruce Lee must be just a legend then. Wow.
yeah, I mean he is a legend. I mean, but Jean-Claude's pretty popular too, though, because of these movies, right? They don't think of him as like a Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
But he's pretty popular, like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I'm sure he was a huge star in the 80s.
So what I was saying is Quentin Tarantino said there's a Bruce Lee movie. He said Into the Dragon is trash, but there's another Bruce Lee movie that he loves that is actually good. He says, I don't know.
We'll find it. We'll watch it one day.
Yeah, I've looked. I can't remember, and I can't find that clip of what movie he was talking about.
Yeah.
We should go through and watch some more Jean-Claude movies. They have the movie called Kickboxer,
Whoa.
Lionheart,
Again.
Universal Soldier,
Again.
Double Impact,
Again.
Hard Target.
Again.
He's in The Expendables. Have you seen that?
I have seen The Expendables.
Is that funny?
I mean, I was when I saw The Expendables, I think I was about 11 years old, maybe 12, and I was super big into airsoft. And airsoft was not a joke to me. I was in a super secret team. We were called Shadow Recon.
Nice.
And all like
Ghost Recon.
Shadow Recon. Get it right.
You ever play that though? The game Ghost Recon.
I probably heard of it, and it might have had something to do with Shadow Recon.
It probably did. That was out when we were kids.
But I'm just saying, like, I remember The Expendables and like all the Fast and Furious movies, and playing Call of Duty. That's how we like trained and developed strategy. And I don't know why you're laughing. It wasn't a joke. It was real. But The Expendables had a lot of inspiration for me when I was 11 years old, and I wanted to be a Navy SEAL.
You know what's
That
funny?
was the idea. I was ready. By the time I was 11, I was ready for training. I was watching the military channel at 11 years old. I remember watching the most boring documentaries and taking notes because I wanted to develop strategies on the battlefield for my airsoft matches.
Did you literally do this?
Swear to God.
Oh my gosh. Why do you force yourself to watch these military documentaries that were just
because
not good?
I was the leader. So if anybody was going to do it, I had to do it. But then
how old were you?
I was 11.
11?
I was 11 years old, and I was watching, I'm not going to lie, I was watching a lot. There was a lot of Hitler stuff. There was a lot of Hitler content on how he actually did it. And there's 11-year-old me like writing it down. Like Eric Cartman from South Park. Like,
oh my God.
I wasn't idolizing Hitler by any means, but I respected how he got the job done.
What?
Oh God.
Dude, hey.
Talk about picking my words.
Well, if you remember from the Sisu episode, last episode, you also
No.
said you were a Nazi sympathizer.
No. I did not.
So now we know where it started. From the old battleground days, airsoft days. I think
how did we get to Nazi Germany from The Expendables?
You fucking tell me, dude.
Damn it.
I think every 11-year-old boy had a thing like that. Had a group of buddies where they had a team and they were practicing being they were like secret military group.
It was super military. It was bad. It did definitely get out of hand at some points. Like I remember I built like the shittiest tree house in my backyard, and like I would go to my enemies' houses and take them prisoner, and I would make them sit in that tree house. It was like timeout for 3 hours.
For your friends.
Yeah, and like if they tried to get down from the tree house, we had our airsoft guns and would just start shooting.
Dude, that was you bullying somebody without you realizing you're bullying somebody. This kid's having the worst time of his life, and you're like just having a blast. Think about, but dude, we're playing war.
Hey, that's how war goes. It ain't pretty.
I built a little fort because we had to have like woods around our house. Yeah, I mean it wasn't
I built big forts. I had 2 big forts. I wonder if they're actually still standing.
Mine aren't. The house lives where my fort used to be.
My forts have not been touched. Unless I need to go. You know what? It's been a while. I need to go check on my enemies.
That would be cool if the forts were still there and you can go see them.
There was just like a dump that we could go get couches from, and I mean we had a badass fort.
Okay, mine was not that good.
Shadow Recon, shout out. Miss you guys.
Since I lived in Houston, we had to use...
Way to get the job done out there.
Shadow Recon. When I was a kid and living in Houston, there's a lot of hurricanes. So we used to have like a bunch of plywood that would cover our windows for like sticks and limbs and rocks and shit that would fly. So we didn't bust our windows open. But when I was building my fort, I didn't give a fuck what those were for. We just pulled them out of the shed and would just start using them and cutting them and like pasting them around on trees to make a fort.
That's all. That's what it was all about.
My dad
you found what you could find, and you could use it to make.
My dad would come out and he would like give us permission to use some of the wood, but not the ones for like the bigger windows. Yeah. And then like eventually we just started taking the bigger window ones. We need more wood. And then we would like put up signs of like the name. I think the name of our fort was called Black Rope. So I always thought it was cool to have a color and an object as a name. That always seemed to be a classic move for a cool name.
Oh, it's genius. I mean,
Black Rope.
Bloodsport.
See what I'm talking about?
Hey, it's timeless.
Not a color, but same principle.
It's like, it's right there, like blood red. I feel like you've heard that, people might say something like that, like describe that as a color. Like
yeah, you just
red.
need two cool Black Rope, cool two. I don't know if rope's cool, but you need two cool words. Bloodsport, Shadow Recon, Black Rope.
Oh my God. Wow, we were ahead of our time.
Man, we were ahead of our time. Dude, I'll tell you a story. One time when I was making these, I was making the forts, and me and my brother Jacob were using machetes to chop down little bitty pine trees that were growing up because they were bendy and flexible. And so we were going to try to like rig them up to make them like a wall and cut down a bunch. We had this whole giant plan. Summertime, freedom. We were going to make a fort this summer. And we weren't going to joke around. We were going to make a badass fort.
Absolutely.
So I had a machete, and I don't know how old I am. I gotta be in middle school, maybe younger. Probably 6th, 7th grade. Okay. Maybe.
Damn. We could have formed the greatest alliance
that
this country's ever seen.
South Texas to East Texas. Teaming up.
Shadow Recon meets up with Black.
So me and Jake, I'm cutting down the thing so me and Jacob can dig them in the ground. And I'm straddling this, not straddling it, but like the trees in front of me, and I'm kind of with my legs spread, like trying to get leverage on it to cut it.
Yeah.
So I'm hacking at this thing.
It sounds like you're doing a Frank Duke split.
No, it wasn't that wide, but it was wide enough to. So I'm hammering this thing with the machete, and I finally cut through, and the machete swings through toward my leg and smacks my leg like that. The side of the machete smacks my leg, and I remember dropping it, looking up to the sky and saying, "Thank you, God," because I literally full speed machete to my leg could have just sliced it down like the bone and just scraped my leg, but for some reason it like just folded perfectly and just smacked my leg.
Did you finish the fort?
Fuck no, I quit.
Come on,
dude. I was like, dude, I'm not using that. Well, nah,
I would have seen that as a sign to finish the fort. Actually.
Oh shit, you're probably right.
Yeah, I would have looked to the skies and been like, God, I see what you want me to do. I see how important this is.
This is my mission now.
Yes, I hear you loud and clear, God.
All right, this is gonna be the last episode of the CRWN Cinema Podcast. I'm going back to Black Rope.
I'm going back to Shadow Recon.
I'm finishing that fort.
Oh my God. Okay. If Bloodsport were to be made today, what actors do we think we would see in it? Think about just, I hate to say it, but I think Keanu Reeves. I think he might be the guy.
If he was younger, yes.
Okay.
If he was younger, he's too old for that now.
I'm just trying to, I guess we really don't know like corny actors of our time right now.
So the thing is that Jean-Claude back in the day wasn't a corny actor.
Right. He was taken like super serious.
Yeah. Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet. Yeah, man. He gets an Oscar for this movie.
Yeah. I was telling Gray, we should, once we get our movies going and we're successful filmmakers, we should remake Bloodsport, but make it actually good.
Yes.
Rewrite the story.
And I would love and be honored to play the role of Ray Jackson.
You know, it'd be funny if at the end, instead of it cutting to just randomly saying this was based on a true story, we cut to like an actor playing older Frank Dukes or like in a bar telling the story of this, and just it being just complete bullshit, just letting everybody know, hey, by the way, this is all bullshit by some guy who was talking to somebody in a bar.
And if you don't believe this story, just ask Frank Dukes. He'll verify it. Let
me look at what's in the theater right now just to get an idea of what actors are like big right now, because I'm having trouble thinking off the top of my head. Okay.
Well,
Burt Kreischer. Keanu Reeves for sure if he was younger.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody like, oh, do you know who would it be? You know who it would be? Conor McGregor starting to act.
Yeah.
Because he's in the new Roadhouse remake. Conor McGregor is.
Oh my God, absolutely.
So it would be Conor McGregor.
He even has like an accent too.
And he can actually fight. He's an athlete.
Yeah.
He's not an actor.
Man, yeah, absolutely.
There it is.
Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor.
Good stuff.
Would they show tattoos or not? No tattoos. Covers tattoos.
No tattoos. No tattoos.
Yeah, I agree.
Frank Dukes he's a clean body.
Yeah, you're right. They got to cover his tattoos.
Peak performance. If anything, Conor McGregor's tattoos probably slow him down.
I think the gorilla biting the heart on his chest definitely speeds him up.
That and whatever shots he takes before a fight.
Yeah, dude. There's that new. Have you seen the new McGregor documentary, McGregor Forever?
I have not, but me and Jake have been we started Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah,
like we saw the first episode last week.
Mm-hmm.
Excited for that. I've never seen Ultimate Fighter. I don't know how, but I mean it was pretty kick ass.
I wanted to watch it last year, but for some reason I just forgot about it. Didn't keep up with it. This year, since it's Conor McGregor coaching it, I'm for sure gonna keep up with it. And you forget the show is so good because at the end of every episode you see the fight.
Yeah.
So it's the coolest reality TV show possible.
Yeah, because Jake, so like I said, I've never seen it. And so me and Jake are watching the first episode, and he's like, dude, if we don't get a fucking fight, I'm going to be really upset. And I just told him, I doubt we see a fight in the first episode. I mean, there's so much buildup. I mean, how could they rush it? Boy, was I wrong. I mean, and the fight was good. Did you see the episode?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, that motherfucker clobbered him.
Ass out quick. Like a Frank Dukes world record quick.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, Kumite record quick.
Kumite, Bloodsport.
That's essentially the Kumite right there.
Yeah. Oh.
That's a real world Kumite.
Yes, it is. We get to witness it.
We just tied it back into this topic of this episode.
Bloodsport actually influenced UFC.
That's why Dana White is so good in the UFC. Dana White in the UFC is so good because he just gives the fans what they want all the time.
Yeah.
There's always a big fight happening. Like, if there's somebody that you want to see fight, oh man, I wish this guy would fight this guy. If they're in the same weight class. Probably the next 2 or 3 UFCs, they're going to fight.
Yeah, Dana White will make it happen.
Because boxing, there's so many agreements and different leagues, and you have to, like, it's 2 years out before you see, like, the 2 biggest guys fight. In the UFC, it's like, nah, you got 2 months to see the top guys fight.
Nice.
Which is just the coolest thing because you always have good fights. It's always fun. You're not waiting, years to see badass fights.
Although I wish UFC looked as realistic as Bloodsport. So that is my one just kind of hot take. I wish UFC wasn't so scripted. You could tell it's so scripted. But Bloodsport, at times I questioned if they were even acting.
Yeah, sometimes it's crazy because when you see fights like this, their punches are so hard that the air from their fist hits them in the face.
Yes, it's just
I heard that line. I heard that line from have you seen Rocky 4 with Ivan Drago?
Is that when Rocky goes to Russia? Is that Rocky 4?
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen.
That's the best Rocky, not story-wise, but because it's just like the montages are the best. Like that's like you thought these montages were good. No. Rocky 4 montages are good.
Wow.
But
also we got a really quality chase scene.
Nice slow chase scene on the boats.
Yep.
I was talking about Rocky 4. Oh, I got that line that I said from. There's a ESPN did a fake 30 for 30 they posted with College Humor, I think it was. It was either College Humor or Funny or Die, but they made a fake ESPN 30 for 30 with all the real ESPN anchors that actually do 30 for 30s about Rocky 4 and how like it ended the Cold War, and like that was the biggest thing in sports history ever.
God.
It's so funny. And they mentioned how like, I mean, Rocky's and Ivan's punches were so strong that even like the air would like hit him. It's like, I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah, the air would have impact. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. The college humor.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check that out.
It's pretty good.
Okay, I mean, what are we rating this movie?
It's hard to rate it what it truly should be, just because it's got that. We're watching it through the eyes of our 8-year-old dads who like loved this movie as a kid,
right?
Or our 10-year-old dad who loved this movie as a kid. So it's kind of, you have that, you come into it knowing what you're gonna get. You know it's gonna be corny as fuck. You know it's gonna be like super silly, but still it's enjoyable just because it's this cheesy ass 80s old action movie.
So I want to ask you this, okay, just before we answer this. Do you think at the time that this movie was out, did the audience have the same reaction as we do today about like the Fast and Furious movies? Like they just know it's going to be absurd? Or did they really go into this movie and they walked out and they were like, holy shit, that was so awesome?
I think they said it was so awesome because they haven't seen things like that before.
Okay. So this movie was taken very seriously. People were not laughing at this movie when it came out.
I don't think so, no. I think people thought, wow, Jean-Claude is fucking badass.
Okay.
I think that's what they thought.
Okay.
We should ask our parents that.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
curious.
I mean, I can't believe it because if that were the case, I think my dad would have shown me this movie at some point in my life. I never even heard my dad talk about Bloodsport.
I don't know why I found out about it. My dad never told me about it. I think I just...
Maybe you were just going
I think I saw it through Netflix, and I knew it was an old action movie, and I might have heard of somebody else mention it in like a movie or a show or something, right, or on TV. So I asked my dad about it. He's like, oh, yeah, Bloodsport. And then he's like, yeah, you should watch it.
Yeah.
So he never came out of it.
For me...
Critics, 46. In the audience, 74% liked it.
Okay. For me, Kung Fu movies, and I guess the respect that movie makers have for it. Like I know Quentin Tarantino was a big fan of Kung Fu movies because you can see that in, for instance, True Romance, my favorite movie of all time.
That's your number one?
That's my number one. The protagonist of that movie is obsessed with Kung Fu movies. Like dad is like he goes to movie theaters by himself and like he would watch those kinds of movies. On top of that, Quentin Tarantino created the Kill Bill movies. Those are obviously inspired by these kinds of movies. And so it definitely had like a positive impact on people. People watch these movies and were like, holy shit, like this is badass.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So with that
here
in mind,
I'm on the Rotten Tomatoes, and the genre is biography and action.
Oh my God. Frank Dukes, you son of a bitch. You did good.
Oh, so the consensus is this is where it all began for the muscles from Brussels. Oh, fuck. Never mind. That's his nickname, Jean-Claude. I thought I was saying this is like the start of like these action movies. That's what I thought I was trying to say.
Oh, okay.
But Muscles from Brussels is Jean-Claude's like nickname, I guess.
Yeah, but you also got to think like at this time, I think Chuck Norris was having a pretty big impact on Hollywood.
Chuck,
and
you had Bruce Lee, Jean-Claude Van Damme. You had Steven Seagal.
Mm-hmm.
That's another white guy that does kung fu movies.
Okay. And even Sylvester Stallone, like was he the big guy? Like was he was Rambo out at this?
I believe so.
Maybe a little bit later. No, it had to be.
I think it was
Rambo.
around the time.
Rambo was like, if it wasn't out by this point, it was coming. And
the thing with Stallone is that he got big from Rocky. That was his first movie.
Right.
So in Rocky 1 and 2, he's muscular, but he's not like Stallone jacked.
Yeah.
And then between 2 and 3, he did Rambo, and that's when he got just shredded and insanely jacked. So when you see him in Rocky 3, Rocky's just like fucking God. You just see him just
the
testosterone up, just geared up, fucking just so jacked and oiled up.
Yeah. Okay, well, so I guess at the time this movie came out, I mean, this is what the audience wanted. And so I guess
today, I'm going to rate it for today's. I'm going to be honest. Today's standard with the movie, like how it was written, how it was told, the enjoyment of it. Enjoyment of it gives it some boosts. But if I'm going to rate how the movie literally was, like how the writing was, the storyline, how it was delivered, how it was created, how it was edited,
everything,
how the acting was, I'm going to give this a solid 4.
Wow. Okay. I was going 3.
Oh, I thought you were going to want more.
Nope. This not a good movie.
Dude, I'm surprised, dude. I always have the higher ratings. You always have the lower ones, I think.
I mean, come on, man. Like the fighting scenes are terrible. They're so obviously like just terribly choreographed.
You know what's crazy? I gave this movie a 4, but I would watch it again before I watched Taxi Driver. I gave Taxi Driver a 7.5, I believe.
Yeah.
And I would watch Bloodsport over Taxi Driver.
Interesting. It sounds like your system might be flawed, but I think I also gave Taxi Driver a higher rating than this movie.
Yeah, you did. You gave it like a 6 or something.
I thought I gave it like a 5. I might have bumped it up to a 6 just because maybe that's just the fear of Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, what if you meet him one day?
Yeah, and he's gonna be like, "Oh,
I'm gonna show him this clip and be like, look what Gray said about you."
And if Martin heard that, he'd be like, that's actually the one movie that I'm the most proud of."
Yeah, but I gave Taxi Driver a bigger one because of the filmmaking. It's the filmmaking's quality, the story's quality.
The story is crazy. You don't know where that movie's gonna go. You know how this movie's gonna end.
I mean, when we were sitting down, Mercedes literally was like, "Oh yeah, I bet that guy's gonna die," and he didn't die, but he almost died.
They couldn't kill Ray Jackson. They probably couldn't kill him because maybe they were thinking we might need him for a sequel.
Well, there's 5 Bloodsports.
Oh my god! Then obviously this movie killed when it first came out. If they came out with 5 more,
that's what I mean. This wasn't a one and done. This is, dude, we got to milk this baby.
4 more Bloodsports.
Let me read. Let's find the titles really fast before we end this. Yeah, Bloodsport film series. That's how it's labeled. Film series, not a movie. Film series.
We must not really appreciate good movies.
Bloodsport 2, Next Generation. Bloodsport 3. Bloodsport 4. The Dark Kumite. And then... Oh, it's just 4.
There's 4?
Just 4, yeah. I thought it was 5. Just 4.
Wow.
The next one's called Bloodsport, The Next Kumite, not Next Generation. A street fighter, so it's a new martial artist.
Oh, it's not...
It's not
Frank Dukes?
Nope.
And is it not...
But Ray Jackson's back, so you were right.
They could not kill him.
Jean-Claude was... Mr. Miyagi's in this. And it's number 2.
Really?
Yeah. Pat Morita? I don't know. Yeah. That's definitely Mr. Miyagi.
It's I'll be honest, it's gonna be it might be a long time before I see Bloodsport 2. It could arguably take a whole lifetime for me to finish the Bloodsport movies. Or it could take another pandemic.
I was thinking maybe at some point in the show when we got episodes, like I'm talking we got like 100 episodes. Nah, tens of episodes, like we got like 20 or 30 or 40. We should start to just like, okay, we're going to watch the McConaughey anthology. Okay, we're going to watch the Scorsese anthology. Okay, we're going to watch the Jean-Claude Van Damme anthology. Watch all of their movies just back to back to back for the next like few weeks of episodes. Maybe do like a couple episodes a week of that.
Yeah.
But I figured that'd be a fun thing. So maybe that's when we watch the rest of the Bloodsports, when we end up watching the Van Damme anthology.
Man, I mean, that is going to be honestly, if we do that, I'm going to need a watch party. Like I'm going to need more people to be involved, just to keep the energy alive.
Yeah.
Just, I'm going to need, they don't need to be on the podcast, but they just need to be watching the movie. I need them really drunk. I need them just dialed in.
Really drunk.
Really, they're definitely going to need to be drunk. Like that would make the experience so much better.
It would, getting rowdy, watching Bloodsport.
Getting rowdy, watching the, I would even take like bets on fights. I think that would make it really interesting.
That'd be fun.
Because there's no way any of our friends have watched all these movies.
I would bet Isaac's seen at least 3 of them.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure Isaac would be the one person that he's probably finished it. He probably loves it.
He probably has a poster in his closet that isn't.
He's probably gonna be really pissed off that we gave it a 3 and a 4.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
That's my favorite movie.
No, Scarface is
I know
easily, but Bloodsport could be his number 2.
Could be.
Sorry, Isaac, in advance if that is the case.
Did you watch? Did you show him RRR? Did y'all watch that together?
No, I watched that by myself.
Although
I wish I had watched that with people.
We should watch that one at some point.
Yeah, because I didn't even finish RRR. So So there we go. Let's man, let's go watch like a quality movie.
We will. This is near future.
Yeah,
future.
We'll figure it out.
We got some up to date ones coming. Some in theater, some just released ones.
There is still a Quentin Tarantino movie that I have not seen. You've seen
Hateful Eight?
No. I've seen Hateful Eight way too many times. No, it's the one with Kurt Russell and he's a stunt driver.
Death Proof.
I've still never seen it. You said you didn't really like it that much.
Nah, wasn't that great.
Okay.
I didn't think. I'll be down to watch it again just to see, but yeah, it wasn't.
No. Well, it's your pick anyways. Well, we got to watch a movie that you haven't seen next.
Yeah. Okay. I gave it a 4.
I gave it a 3.
Let us know if you're watching this on Spotify or on YouTube. You can comment to see. I want to know what y'all's rating is. If you watched this movie before, what do you think it is? Give us your thoughts. I'd love to hear it.
Yes, I'm really curious to see who has seen this movie, and if you have, and you're willing to tell me how much you love it, how come I've never heard you talk about it before?
Boom. We're out.